year 11 and 12, I saw students make mistakes that caused them to perform badly in their exams and not achieve their desired ATAR without even realizing it. And in this video, I'll reveal to you 5 mistakes that 95 plus ATAR students never make and how you can avoid each of these mistakes so that you too can become a top student. Mistake number 1. Making excuses. Low performing students always blame their circumstances, their teachers, their classmates, and even the school that they go to. Whenever low performing students do poorly in an exam, literally the first instinct that they have is to blame someone or blame something. My teacher didn't go through this topic. I was never told it was going to be in this exam, blah, blah, blah. They always blame people. They always make excuses. But what low performing students always fail to recognize is that the only person to ever blame are themselves. Top students do not make excuses and they don't blame other people or things. Whenever they do badly in the exam, the first person they look at are themselves. What did I do wrong? Why this question I got 1 out of 5? Why did I get 1 out of 5? Okay, I forgot to do X, Y, and Z. And when a top student does have bad teachers and goes to a bad school and has distracting classmates, even then they don't blame and make excuses because they understand that they have control over everything. And they take it into their own hands. For example, if a top student has a bad teacher who can't explain concepts properly and just can't teach, instead of blaming them and causing them to dictate their own future, what top students will do is that they teach themselves. They go on YouTube, they use ChatGPT, they get a tutor, they ask other teachers at their school. Does your school only have one teacher? No. So that's what top students do. They never blame, they never make excuses, and they understand that everything's within their own hands. Now, how do you avoid the mistake of making excuses? This may take some time because a lot of the time, our brains are conditioned and programmed to make excuses because of certain events. So this might take a while to do, but keep persevering and keep intentionally doing this until you don't make these excuses anymore. So, number 1, I want you from today after watching this video to always find a way of blaming yourself and seeing how you could have done something in that particular scenario. For example, let's say you sat an exam and you didn't know something was going to be in there, right? You didn't know a topic was going to be in there. Instead of blaming the teacher straight away, which might be your first instinct, understand that you could have asked what was going to be in the exam. You could have looked up the notification, the syllabus. You could have figured out what's going to be in the exam. That's one very specific example, but it doesn't matter what it is. And by the way, I'm not just talking about school. In life generally, right? Just in life as a whole. Try to just not blame anything. Do not make any excuses, and always try to find a way of taking responsibility and blaming yourself. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but trust me, this is how you grow as a person. And the second way of avoiding this is to always tell yourself and remember that you have control over everything that happens. You have control over how much effort you put in, what you do for an exam, how you respond to a bad teacher who can't teach, and you alone can form solutions for that. Mistake number 2. Not getting ahead. Low performing students never get ahead and instead stay up to date with their class. On the other hand, high performing students are always ahead of the class and ahead in the content, even if it's just by one chapter or one topic, because they understand that when they're ahead in the content, they can take more time to learn something, they can ask more questions, they can do more practice questions, they can prepare for exams much better than others, and it gives them the ability to really understand the topic without rushing anything. So, how do you avoid the mistake of not getting ahead? Simply by leveraging your weekends and your holidays. During your weekends and your holidays, always try to get ahead of the content, even by just a little. So this could involve simply just starting the next topic, even just by reading the next topic, taking notes of the next topic, or just something that's called pre-learning. So figuring out what you're going to be learning and structuring it and things like that. Mistake number 3. Not planning. Low performing students don't have any plan. They have no idea what they're going to be doing every single day, and they just literally walk into school and they go about their daily lives with pretty much a blindfold and do what they feel is right. So for example, oh, I feel like doing math. Let's do math today. I feel like doing this. Let's do this today. They never have a set plan and they only do what their desire tells them to do. On the other hand, high performing students always plan what they're gonna do. They have weekly to-do lists and they know exactly on Monday, I'm gonna do this, this, this. On Tuesday, gonna do this, this, this. And you might change over time, of course, but top students always plan roughly what they're gonna be doing. So how do you avoid the mistake of not planning? Make a weekly to-do list and schedule in all your upcoming assessment tasks. Mistake number 4, studying passively. Low performing students study passively. They just take notes, they highlight their notes, they reread the notes, and they rewrite their notes, all of which require no effort from the brain. They just feed themselves information without using and applying the information. On the other hand, high-performing students, they study actively. They test themselves on the content. They really sit down and think about the concept they just learned and they tie it with other things that they know. They use techniques like flashcards, summarization from memory, and a whole variety of others. But whatever the technique is, they study actively. Now, how do you avoid the mistake of studying passively? Try to make your revision more difficult. So for example, instead of reading your notes, right? After you've written your notes, don't just read them, test yourself on them. Ask yourself questions, make flashcards from them, or try to make a summarization of what you've just learned on a 1 A4 sheet paper straight from memory. Make your revision more difficult, because the more difficult your revision is, the more effective and hence the easier your exam will be. And finally, mistake number 5 is relying on their teachers. Low performing students always rely on their teacher as if they're relying on their own parents. They only start learning topics when their teacher has. They're only aware of assignments and upcoming assessments when their teacher tells them. Everything is just based off what their teacher does. However, high performing students always take the initiative on their own. Right? They go out and see what assignments are upcoming. They start the next topic. They do everything themselves and just use their teachers for 2 primary reasons: asking questions, like if you ever need help, and getting resources. But apart from this, high-performing students take things into their own hands. They learn on their own. They look and research on their own. They do everything on their own because they understand that when they rely on their teachers, they're limiting themselves to what everyone else is doing. If you want to become limitless, do not rely on your teachers. If I had relied on my teachers at all during year 12, I would have never been able to succeed. So how do you avoid the mistake of relying on your teachers? Number 1, become self-aware of what you're actually learning, what assessments are upcoming, and what's required of you. Number 2, read over the syllabus and really understand what you're going to be learning. And number 3, get textbooks for all your subjects so that you can do things on your own and start learning and getting ahead without relying on your teachers. And there you have it. These are the top 5 mistakes that 95+ ATAR students never make, and is what allows them to get ahead of all the lower performing students. If you're making these mistakes right now, it's not too late. You can fix it and you can still perform well. If you found this video helpful at all, then be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you can see when I post a video. And also comment down below if you have any questions for me and I'll respond to you as fast as possible. I'm looking forward to helping you score your desired ATAR, and I will see you in the next video.